Hello again. I hope you're enjoying the weather as much as I am, and if you watched the Super Bowl, I hope you enjoyed it and too many personal relationships weren't affected. Today I'd like to just put forth a bit more of a challenge, building off of the humility video and how we should examine ourselves to find the truth in our life, whether that's good or bad, and then building off of the last video where I talked about doing the right things, but maybe for the wrong reasons. And with that, I would like to talk today about just weaponizing virtue. I hope the title of this video kind of, invoked those memories of whether it's a sibling or a cousin or a close friend when you were a kid who's like, I'm not touching you, right? Technically, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not touching them. But you're using that status and pushing the boundary the right way to actually cause a negative effect and a discomfort for somebody else. And a good illustration of that is in Disney. I actually am wearing a Scar t-shirt for this reason. When Scar's talking to Simba when he's a kid, he says to him, hey, don't go to the elephant graveyard. And he's like, oops, right? Technically what Scar said was right. Simba shouldn't go to the elephant graveyard. And Scar did nothing technically wrong. But in fact, he was using that statement to inform Simba about what that shadowy place was, because he actually wanted Simba to go there and potentially get hurt. And I think we oftentimes use virtuous, technically okay things to say or to do, but we're still focusing on ourselves. As I was discussing last week with that compliance, we're doing the right thing, but we're doing it for ourselves, right? And, when I was working at the juvenile detention facility, I would often have this conversation with the kids there. A kid would get an hour out for free time and another kid would get 2 hours out. And the first kid would say to me, that's not fair. I only got an hour, he got 2. Mr. Nix, you need to fix that. And I was like, you're right. I believe in justice. I believe in equality. I'll look into seeing if that actually happened and we'll try and rectify that. But I have to ask you, kid, if you had 2 hours out and he had only 1 hour out, would you be arguing the same case? And the kid most of the time would be like, no, I don't care, right? And so I would ask them, are you fighting for justice and equality, or are you fighting for you, right? And I think sometimes we don't often ask ourselves that question of the why we're doing the right thing or why we're advocating for a certain virtue and why we're using that virtue as a weapon in whatever argument, whatever debate, whatever situation we're sitting in. Is it because we actually value that virtue, or is it because we didn't get what we wanted and we're in that virtue is a perfectly legal tool to use to fight for that thing for yourself, right? And I would hope that we all get to a place in our character where it's not about us. It's about creating an environment, a culture, just a community of health. And if it's not our cause, we're still willing to fight for those things. That's why I think the most beautiful interpersonal situations are when you find people sacrificing and laying down their time and effort and strength and energy to fight for another person's cause. Because it's evident that there's nothing in it for them. And they care about the situation, they care about that person. And so going forth this week or whatever, I hope we can just look at why we're doing things a bit more. And when we consider ourselves doing the right thing, is it because I actually value the right thing, or is it because I value myself? And sometimes those align, right? You can benefit from creating a healthy environment, but understanding where our heart is aligned is really important. I've always liked to say, if I was in like a state championship for a basketball game, right, and down by 1 score, we have possession, clock's ticking down, and all of a sudden the ball goes out of bounds, and it goes off of me, but the ref says it's off of the other team, and it's our ball. I would like to get to a place where I can say that I would say, hey, ref, that was off of me, my bad, even if it cost us the game. That sounds absurd, it sounds ridiculous to certain people, but I think if we all got to that level of caring for each other and seeking actual existence of virtue rather than only fighting for virtue when it benefits us, we could live in a more healthy society and a more healthy workplace or family. Because if everyone's giving, then you're ultimately going to be taken care of and right will be right. So that's my challenge for this week, that we would just continue to examine why we do the good things, not just that we're doing the good things. So we can start to have that character development and that heart change and the peace that brings when we're not constantly in anxiety regarding that. So good to see you again, and I'll be around. Feel free to reach out. Thank you.